Welcome to this video, a video that I am really excited to be sharing with you today because I think it is something that we all need to give ourselves some grace on. Because I want to tell you that if you are starting this year already feeling like you are behind, like you're trying to get organized, like you need a better schedule, a better planner, a new planner, some other way of doing things, it's not because you're doing anything wrong. I have said what I'm going to say now before, and I will shout it from the rooftop forever and ever and ever. The reason that you feel frazzled trying to find this thing that we call balance, this elusive thing, this elusive experience called balance, is because you have been chasing something that does not exist. Balance, the way that we see it, is a myth. It's a lovely concept, and maybe it's a rather seductive idea. Ooh, when I find that balance, things are just going to be so much easier. And so we look for it and we strive for it, but it is, as I say, an absolute myth. And today we're going to talk about why it has never worked for you, why looking for it has not worked for you and finding it has not worked for you, and what to pursue instead. If you are watching on YouTube or you are listening to the podcast for the first time and you don't know me, I am Charlotte. I am a resilience specialist for working mums, and I am so glad that you are watching this particular video today. I want to welcome you. I want to let you know that this year things are going to change for you. I am over the moon to be on this journey with you, and I really just want to say thank you for pressing play on this episode or on this video. Thank you for trusting me with your time, with the thoughts that are going through your head, with your emotional world. It is going to be so worth it because we are going to make changes to the way that you are feeling, the way that you are thinking, the way that you are doing things as we go into this year. So last week, we started this new season as we go into 2026 with a big truth. And that truth was that you are not overwhelmed. Overwhelm by all the things going on is not what's happening. You are exhausted from trying so hard to be the woman that you think you should be. If you have not listened to that episode or watched that video, go back and do so. Because today we are going to be continuing that conversation around this concept of balance, because balance is one of the biggest shoulds that working mums feel. So you should find balance, and when you do, everything will be easier. You should juggle it all. You should be able to keep every area of your life neat and focus on each area equally and have it all packaged with a little bow. But if the pursuit of balance is draining you, then this episode, this video is going to feel like such a relief. So let's just say it plainly. Balance, this idea of balance, makes the assumption that your life is predictable and that there are two things to think about. One is work and one is life, which is absolutely hilarious because you are a working mum. Your life is built on anything but predictability. In fact, it's built on unpredictability. And real life does not have these two sides to it. It does not have the side of work and the side of life. Real life includes a million things you have to think about. You know, there are sick children, there are bad night's sleep, there's traffic, there are emotional curveballs, there are school WhatsApp groups, there are work deadlines, there's the mental load, there are the weeks when your husband or your partner is away traveling and you have to do it all. There are your hormones and all that you have to deal with as you go through your cycle. There are hundreds of other things to be focused on. So balance, this idea of balance, assumes you can divide your time and your energy equally on work and on home, and that they are separate parts of your life. And it also assumes that you have unlimited energy to give to these things. and that you can control everything beautifully on your calendar. You can allocate a slot to each happily predictable thing in your life. And quite frankly, balance assumes that you are a robot and that everything falls in neatly into this beautiful scale. And when you find the middle point, it's all going to be easy. But you are a human being. You have a nervous system, you have emotions, you have different seasons, you have practical limitations, you have fluctuating capacity depending on what's happening in your body. You have other humans who need you, who depend on you. You have a body that cannot go at 100% all the time. And so this idea of balance is a concept that is trying to offer you a logistics model, if you will, for how to neatly manage your life. But you are a human model. You are not that robot that can work to this logistics model. So what you actually need, what you've always needed, is not balance. It is, and if you know me, you'll know what I'm going to say, it is resilience. What you need is resilience, and resilience is underpinned by the capacity to maintain your internal equilibrium despite the chaos that might be going on around you. So when we think about balance, balance just creates more external pressure, because as you work on adding more systems into your day in order to balance things, you feel this more pressure. And I'm not saying that systems are not a good thing, but resilience, being resilient, actually allows you to use those systems that you do have to do the things externally, the behaviors that you know you need to do, things like setting boundaries, perhaps, instead of saying that everything must get equal attention, you just need to juggle better. When you are resilient, you can do the things like set boundaries. You have the internal equilibrium, the internal certainty to say, I choose what matters to me today. And I can stay steady and certain while choosing those things, while saying no to other things, while doing those things. You think more clearly, you focus better, you lead with ease, you move out of needing, this is the key, needing to perform to feel valuable, into a place where you no longer need everything to run smoothly and beautifully to feel okay. You are steady inside, even when things outside are going completely awry and not according to a lovely, predictable plan. So there are three pillars, if you will, to this internal equilibrium, three pieces, and each one is going to become a theme of our conversations, of our videos, or of our podcast episodes over the next few months. So the first of these pillars that is going to allow you that internal equilibrium is identity stability. This is the absolutely fundamental key. When you know who you are, without having to prove who you are to other people, you stop performing. You stop chasing some elusive finish line or good enough that you're so desperately trying to get to. You stop holding on so tight to hustle and drive and being good. When you have the identity stability that I'm talking about, this says, I am clear on who I want to be in this season. We are going to change. We don't change who we are fundamentally, but every season is different, and every season requires different elements of our, what I call our true identity. And so when you are clear on who you want to be, who you what is going to give you the agency to live the life that you want to live. Just this sense of clarity reduces that internal chaos. I mean, maybe even by 80%. When you are clear on this, when you're not trying so hard to be who you think you need to be, there is much less internal chaos, internal chaos that then causes external chaos when we're working so hard and striving so hard. So this is the first step that I take my clients through in my group coaching program, Resilient, is to get to this clarity on who do I want to be. Because if you are not clear on what you want, which very few of us are, and who you need to be to get to what you want, how can you even begin to move towards what you want? So we want our results to be based on who we are, not to be based on who we think we need to be. So that's identity stability, pillar 1. Pillar 2 is nervous system steadiness. So again, looking for this concept of balance and this idea of balance, you cannot balance yourself out of a dysregulated nervous system. So a lot of people work around regulating your nervous system, but this is just one pillar of internal equilibrium. We cannot regulate our nervous system without our identity stability. And no planner or calendar app is going to help you feel calmer if you do not have the capacity to regulate your nervous system. So internal equilibrium begins then with this calmer internal world that comes from identity stability, and then with the ability to regulate, to when we notice ourselves becoming dysregulated, to then be able to regulate your breathing, regulate your cortisol levels, regulate what we call your heart rate variability. I won't get into the science of that, but it's huge for the way you respond, but also for your health, for the health of your heart as you get older. So this is not just about your mental health. This is hugely about your physical health and how it's going to keep you alive and healthy and strong long into your old age. So we want to also be able to regulate your threat response. How do I respond to something that feels like a threat? And then get yourself back to a place of internal safety. If your nervous system is overloaded and is not regulated, then life is always going to feel unbalanced because you're always in this stress response to what is going on around you. So when we learn how to find that nervous system steadiness, we can find a feeling of balance, that internal equilibrium that we're looking for. The third pillar of this equilibrium is boundary-led energy management. We are not here to work on time management. I know that what you want is more time, but it is your capacity, your internal battery level, if you will, that you need to work on. Because when you have more capacity, you will find that you have more time. Another word for capacity is energy. So where time is rigid and set and we all only have the same 24 hours in a day, energy is cyclical. So energy comes in waves, and you have the power to drain or to build your energy or your capacity, for another word. And we want to use that power to drain or to build instead of draining, so that you have more energy to do the things in the rigid set time. One of the ways to build your capacity is with boundaries. So apart from being able to regulate your nervous system, boundaries are one of your greatest energy protectors. When you learn to say no early on, not after the fact, or when you wish you'd said no and now you have to go back, when you learn how to stop over functioning, when you learn how to let other people carry their load, you don't take responsibility for their problems or for their happiness, when you learn how to honor, if you will, your emotional bandwidth, how much capacity you have, instead of going over and above all the time and pushing yourself, your life does not magically find balance, but you just stop leaking all of your energy out. You have the ability to recharge that inner battery so that you have the capacity to set further boundaries. It's much easier to set a boundary when you have energy. Sometimes when you're feeling depleted, just saying yes is the easier thing to do. You have the capacity to give your energy to the things that matter. So I want to tell you about one of my clients. Let's call her Sam. Sam is not her name, but we'll just call her Sam for today. So Sam had all the organizational tools that the guru said would help her find balance. She had bought programs, she had bought calendars, she had bought the whole lot. She had a color-coded calendar, she had a morning routine, she had a balance checklist, she had all these beautiful work blocks, and she told me that every January she would set these all up with the new goals and the new schedule, and she kind of had this renewed hope that this year was going to be the year that she was going to stick to them. This year was going to be the year that they didn't end up gathering dust at the bottom of her handbag while she just flew by the seat of her pants through her day, desperately trying to be on top, but feeling like she was kind of being blown in the wind. So Sam got in touch with me in early February last year and told me that she needed help. And she was doing everything right, but she felt like she was drowning, and she already felt in February like the year was running away with her. When we dug into what was happening for Sam, it wasn't her calendar and her lack of systems. Clearly, she had so many systems. And we got to the base of the issue, which was her identity that was causing her so much struggle, so much scrambling, so much kind of feeling like she could never get on top. So Sam was desperately trying to be the good girl that I talk about a lot, that I think that we all try to be to some extent. She was trying to be the good girl. She was trying to be the perfect professional, do it all right. She wanted to be the Energizer Bunny that had all the energy to do all the things. She desperately wanted to be the calm mum as well. So working so hard to be these people while managing her home, showing up at work, being the perfect friend and daughter and sister, and oh my gosh, doing all of these things all at once. So of course she felt unbalanced. My children will say to me things. Children are so amazing. And I'll ask them a question and they'll say, of course I can't do that. Or of course I can, almost like, don't be so ridiculous. I just want to say, use those children's words here. Of course she felt unbalanced. I mean, I feel unbalanced just thinking of trying to do all of those things. So Sam was living with what I call identity overload, trying to be all these people that she thought she needed to be in order to feel valuable, to belong, to be acceptable. But once Sam learned the skill set of resilience, she learned to regulate her nervous system. She learned to set and stick to her boundaries. She learned to stop performing. She felt relief for the first time in years. Her life changed because she got to know who she wanted to be, and then she took the power back from all of those identities that had been shouting rules at her. You've got to do this, you've got to be like this, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. She felt empowered to see value in who she was without all of the doing. Such a relief. She had space she had energy, she had time, her life changed. So here is a small thing that you can do this week to help you check in on your equilibrium, on your capacity levels, whether you are building your capacity or if your energy is leaking out on all the things you have to do. Use this little check-in to see, to just build that awareness. Ask yourself, what is draining me today? When you look at your to-do list, what feels draining on that? And then look and see what is nourishing me today, not just in my food, but in the things that I have on my list to do. And then thirdly, what can I put down today that I don't really need to hold on to? And if that question makes you feel, pushes you back in your seat and you just think, I just can't, I have to do all of these things. That is data. That is interesting. Be curious. There's no judgment. If you are finding that question is really difficult, please sign up for a resilience audit with me. There is a link in the show notes below, and we'll have a look at what's going on for you that makes it really difficult for you to even think about putting something down. When you ask yourself these three questions, as I've said, you start to build awareness, and that is the beginning of building this equilibrium, of building your resilience that allows for that internal steadiness. There's no pressure. We're not asking you to be perfect. We're not asking get anything right. So many people say to me, oh, I want to do this, but I'm just so scared of failing. You cannot fail when you are leading yourself with intention and being clear about where it is that you are going, where it is that you're leading yourself to. So if even that feels uncertain, unsure, it's very vague and blurry, if this is something that you really want to work on this year, please book that complimentary resilience audit with me. We'll look at what is draining you. We'll create a 30-day plan to help you build your capacity so that you can be more clear, so that this fog lifts a little bit, so you can be more focused and more present in those moments that matter to you this year. I really encourage you to use these three questions. Check in with yourself. Build your awareness with curiosity, without judgment. And if this episode has excited you about what is possible, please share it with another working mum who is tired of chasing this idea of balance, who's feeling overwhelmed but just doesn't know where to go from here. Because I want to just remind you as we wrap up here, balance is a myth. Internal equilibrium that comes from building your resilience is the way forward. And you are absolutely capable of creating and of having that internal steadiness that is going to allow you to do the things that you need to do to feel the way you need to feel.